Good evening and welcome to Captain Trek Reviews. We are talking with uh, Vance Major from No Budget Productions. With me, as always, is Ramlin Canuck. And let's get your take on our review of the film.
Yeah.
It was really short. It was short.
Yes.
Like it was shorter than my film. It was I was so excited, especially after Voice of the Dead and you guys torpedoing that one. I was like, man, I'm really excited, to hear what they think about Pursuit. And after the film, I was like, oh, it's only 4 minute. It's only a 4 minute review. Oh, dang it! So I savored every bite of it.
Well, the difference I think between Pursuit and the previous movie was, like I said, in the previous movie I was rambling because I was like, there's more to this. There's got to be more to this because I don't understand the story. When it came to Pursuit, I understood the story.
Right.
So it really, it made sense to me, and the story itself made sense. And there really wasn't too much to, as they say, pick apart. It was more, well, yeah, this was an interesting take on that story. It's been told before, but at the same time, this is a good representation of that story. But there wasn't really a lot to dissect, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had that's one of the things about with no budget, and some limitations. It was one of those ones where I seriously wanted to do, like, okay, if this was a hero in the real world, like what would that be like? Like I don't know if have any of you guys seen the movie Defendor or the movie Super with Rainn
Super,
Wilson
I
in
think
it?
I've seen.
Yeah,
But Defendor, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's both of those are really good low to no budget movies. Even though Defendor had Woody Harrelson in it.
Okay.
And both of those movies are, I think they're both available on Netflix. But I had DVDs of both because I used to work at a CD trade post.
Cool.
And yeah, I used to manage one of those. And so anytime a superhero movie came in, I was like, oh man, awesome. I'm going to watch this, because I just pop it in the PlayStation 2 and just let it run. And, we'd watch it and, just, whatever, we would quote unquote test, the stuff for the, customers to see, but we would watch countless films in that store, and those were two of the films that I was like, man, these are just really good films. So those are two films that were inspired Pursuit, plus the RLSH movement, which are a lot of them are good friends of mine, and they're real life people that go out and they'll do like handouts of food. They'll go down to the homeless shelters and give blankets. They'll do helping hands. They just do it in, their own mask and cape, they do their own version of like playing dress up. So I really use those as inspirations for this film. And then some of my own personal life experiences, as kind of inspiration for this character. So, yeah, that was the basis for this character. Something very short, something very simple, and yeah, that's what I came up with. So
yeah, and like I said, I mean, the movie itself was shot really well.
Well, thank you.
Although I the only thing I would have liked, and I said this in the review, is more of the post monologue, like when he goes from "I used to be a nice guy," right, and then he goes, "Well, now I'm doing this my way, right, the other way," which is when he turns from nice guy to vigilante. And I would have liked to see more of that side.
Well, the whole like, you know, as with most of my films, there's a lot of symbolism. Like, he goes from, you know, when he's a little kid, he's wearing the bright, happy colors, you know, the red, the blue, and as he gets older, you know, when he has the, you know, my friend died because of me, you know, from that point on, like, he's wearing the dark colors, the black, and then that transitions over into his you know, persona, so that, you know, there's the self-loathing that's inside him, and that's something that I think a lot of people can relate to. They hold themselves to a different degree, and then at the end of the film, you know, when he tries to do the right thing, and then you know, someone else who is abused, you know, they do what a lot of people do who's in an abusive situation, you know, they push off the help and they go right back to the abuse. And he, you know, he's kind of like, man, you know, you can almost see, even though his face doesn't change, he sits there and just looks at it and he's like, man, what the hell, you know, and then he walks away. And that's a lot of the symbolism is in that, you know, the self-loathing, and it's just there's no real happy ending. It's just a continuing kind of sadness, you know, unjust, you know, it's just the mission, a poor man's Batman per se. So,
and then the other thing we learned from this movie and from watching these movies is Vance really likes to play the bad guy.
Well, this originally, I didn't want to be in this film, because this was the person who was originally cast to be the father character. He got called into work, and he messaged me. He was like, "Hey, I can't do it tonight. I'm sorry." And I was like, "Ah, shit," because we shot this film in, I think it was 22 hours. We shot, we shot, because we actually shot all of the sequences where the main character shaves off his goatee, or, you know, where he's clean shaven. We shot those last, because I told him, I said, we have to shoot these in perfect sequence, because during this time I want you to have a goatee, during this time I want you to have sideburns, during this time I want you to have your sideburns cut, and during this time I want you to be clean shaven, so it looks like you're, you know, young during this time, you know, these years, during this time you're here, and there can be no allowances for mistakes, because, you know, during these times you're wearing these colors, during these times you're during these colors, during these times, you know, so it's very specific what shots were, and that's, you know, a director's, you know, always have those sequences in shot. So we really had a lot to shoot in 22 hours, and at different locations, you know, and looking at the weather, going, okay, we've got to get this here, we got to get this here, we got to get these people here. So I didn't have time to be like, well, I want to act in this, and I want to do this here. Like, I really try to stay behind the camera, and not get in front of it, because I have no real desire to do tons of acting. I really enjoy being behind the camera. But when the actor who was supposed to be the father kind of canceled on me, for realistic purposes, because I mean, real life comes first, you know, I was like, well, screw it, I can't get anybody at the last minute, and we're kind of have no choice at this point. Screw it, you know, because we can't shoot this tomorrow night, and we're busy tomorrow. We really are on a tight schedule. I was like, screw it, I'll do it. You know, and I need somebody to be loud. I need somebody that can get that passion in this, you know. So I was like, screw it, I know I can do it, and I got it, you know. So, you know, it wasn't really as, you know, it wasn't as enjoyable as you would think, but, you know, it was, you know, bad guys.
So we're also getting another common theme going through your movies like this. I think there's probably about 4 reviews, response videos, live streams, where we could probably pull the "I wasn't supposed to be in this movie, but."
Well, yeah, no, that's yeah, that is, it is one of those things where, like, I am known to be a dependable actor. That's one reason why people do send me parts. And another reason why I put myself out there and be like, hey, if you need this, I got it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just, and it speaks to the fact that, you are doing this on a low budget. You have to be able to roll with the punches. And if you can't, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Right.
If
You've got to be able to, no, I meant for, this person to do this, but well, damn. Okay. Switch tracks. And you've got to be able to do that quickly. And that's a real talent. That's not something some people have it, some people don't. And I think even like just from my own personal experience, depending on what you're talking about, that's not something you can teach. Either you can do it or you can't.
Well, when I first started, one of the productions that we had worked, because I started on Starship Valiant, one of the productions that was kind of next to us. They always were shooting, but they never put out anything, and it's because they would always get to set, and then so and so would not show up, then they would sit there all day and they would take pictures of themselves on set, but they would never get anything accomplished. And I always looked at that and I was like, well, you just wasted everybody's time. From my perspective, I've always stood by, I come hell or high water, I'm going to put something out. And if it's not the greatest film, that's okay. I'm still going to put something out. You have to be able to roll with the punches, and you have to be flexible. It's for me, very seldom have I canceled. In fact, I don't think I've ever canceled an event. An example would be the film Sinking. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that film Sinking. It's one of my newer Star Trek films. In fact, we watched it on yesterday on Trey's channel. And anybody who hasn't seen Trey's, Macworld Entertainment's channel, please go over to him. He's a great guy, and he does a lot for. Yeah, great guy, great friend, and he does a lot for watch parties of different fan films. Big supporter of fan films. But he had played the film Sinking yesterday. Originally, the escape pod conversations were supposed to be all held on the planet, and in the film. The part where you see the character of Cherico walking and scanning the people, all of those people, it's actually me and the cinematographer, because the day we filmed that, nobody showed up. Everybody called in at the last minute, and I was like, well, shit, what are we going to do? Like, I can't have this conversation, and everybody called in except for Cherico. Well, we're all here. Well, screw it. So I actually set my tripod up, and me and the cinematographer went down there, and we were like, well, we'll just have him scanning this, and I will make something up, but I am not leaving here without filming something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when I came back to work that Monday, everybody was like, dude, I'm so sorry. And, I had 4 people that were like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I was like, well, if you guys still want to do this, we can have this, those conversations where it was held at doesn't really matter. So we can go sit in the back of my wife's car and have these conversations in a quote unquote escape pod, and we can still have that. And then what we shot will still make sense on the planet. So in the essence of the movie still stayed the same, even though what was originally written wasn't. And that's an example of, not getting what you initially wanted, but still getting a movie out. And that's a more extreme version of what happened here of putting me in the movie. You have to be flexible. Otherwise you're just going to, pout, take your ball, go home and never get anything out there, and I don't want to be that type of filmmaker, and the audience doesn't care that you didn't get your way or that people called in, they're more interested in, oh man, we got another film. Awesome. So. Yeah.
And I can relate to that, because back when I used to do mobile security, we would get mobile drivers that they were great right up until you messed up their run. So they'd be able to do their checks and they do them well and all the rest of it. But the second they got those 2 or 3 alarms, then they were missing checks because they couldn't recalibrate their run
Right.
and work on the fly. It had to be done the same way and in that routine, because if it didn't go to plan, they were hooped.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, I assume you guys have seen the film The 11th Hour, of mine, the Star Trek film, The 11th Hour.
I believe
Okay.
so.
Victoria Fox, again, one of my good friends. Her and I talk all the time, and her character, like originally, that character, it was supposed to be the blonde lady who was in the film Resistance, because I've worked with her a few times, and she was a good friend of mine. But I had reached out to her, said, "Hey, we're all filming. You know, you've given the okay that you'll be there, but I'm just reconfirming that you're going to be there." And I didn't hear nothing. She read the message, didn't hear back from her. I hit her back a couple weeks later, said, "Hey, we're still going to be there. Are you going to be there? Because I need confirmation." Didn't hear nothing back. I'm like, Jesus Christ, come on. Like, don't do this to me. Like, send her another message. Didn't hear nothing back. I'm like, shoot. So when, Josh had told me, he said, "Yeah, dude, I'm going to be there. It's going to be great." Because I had invited both him and Victoria. And Josh had said, "Yeah, I'm going to be there, man." And then Victoria said, "Hey, I will be there. I'll be there." I was like, "Awesome. Hey, would you mind taking over these lines?" So, I mean, that's, she took over the blonde lady's, lines. And, so she had an on-screen death that wasn't even intended originally for her. But, I mean, it's basically just a cross this name off, insert this name, and there you go,
Yeah.
And she had a wonderful time doing it. And that's how flexible most of my scripts are. It's not that the characters don't matter. It's just, the real world is like that. You're not always stuck with, Ensign so-and-so and Commander so-and-so. Like, you've got other people in your world and in your life, and so you've got to be flexible with your films like that, and Victoria had a wonderful time, and that's not talking trash on my friend who didn't message me back. It's just, as a filmmaker, it's like, I've got, I think we had 15 people or 20 people that showed up to set. It's like, I can't let one person stop an entire production. And we shot, I think, 3 or 4 films that weekend in one day. And I can't let one person stop that. So with all of my films, we have, we have the mentality of, hell or high water, let's get this done. And sometimes we have to stop if somebody doesn't show and regroup and be like, okay, how are we going to make this work? But we all make a good product. So, but I think with this film, you certainly don't see, we had to pause. You see a pretty stable product. So,
absolutely. And like I said, from start to finish, you can follow the story. It's very easy to follow. And I think that's why the review was so short, because there wasn't a lot to dissect in that sense. It was, the story was good. I would have liked a little bit more on this end. Vance likes to play the bad guy and wrap it up. and it's not a slight on the film. It's, it's there's only so much from a critical standpoint that you can say before you're just spinning your tires.
Well, originally I had intended to go back to this for 2 more films.
Okay.
And
get out of my head.
What's that now?
Get out of my head, because that was actually going to be one of my next questions was going to be, if you were going to go back to this, where would this character go, and what type of, because every good superhero is only as good as his villain.
See,
so who would have been the villain in this?
Well, here's and my thing is this: I never mind spoilers, either giving them or hearing them, because my mentality is, if your story's good enough, people will still go and watch it. That's why we rewatch movies. How many times have we seen Independence Day? It's such a good film, even though it's slow as shit, and we've seen it a million times. We'll still watch it. It's that's why we watch Christmas movies, because we know what's going to happen. We still watch them anyway. I don't know how many times I've seen that that lamp leg in that Christmas movie, but I love Fred Gile. Like I love I love that one Christmas movie. But that's, to me, so I don't mind saying, hey, this is what the movie's going to be about, and here's the ending. I'm going to go release it sometime, and still just do, I don't mind giving the ending away to some of my films, because my thing is, if you love the product enough, you'll watch it anyway, because getting there is part of the fun.
Yeah.
The reason I never did was because getting the actors back was part of the problem, because all of those actors were not, like, they don't live in the same city, so that's always an issue. So I would probably have to recast, and one of the people I'm no longer friends with, so that was like, well, that's an issue. So I definitely have to recast that part. So it would have to be a slight revision of things, but the second film would probably have to be sort of taking on a partner, someone to kind of bounce ideas off of, somewhat of a Robin-esque character, but someone to, someone that would look up and be like, oh my goodness, here is this hero. I want to emulate this. I want to be like this. Because I feel like that type of story is very endearing. You see this hero, you want to be like that, and something, for you to grow up to. I think that's an interesting story, and I think that's something you can do fresh. Nothing like what they did in Batman Forever, where you have a 25-year-old playing the Boy Wonder. That's just weird to me. But something where it's like, pursuit or the character's, his name is the Dark Detective. He rescues this younger kid or younger guy. And he's like, man, help me, be like you. I want to do this. So I think that would be an interesting story, where they're he gets him out of like a drug problem, drug issues. And then in the third film, the resolution to that would be, the city is kind of been overtaken by drugs. And at the end of that film, or the beginning of the film, you find out that the partners have kind of gone their separate ways. They're not really friends anymore. The city has kind of continued to spiral out of control. It's not, all the good he's tried to do hasn't really gone anywhere. And then at the end of the film, the daughter that was in the first one, she makes an appearance back at the end of the film, and the Dark Detective gets captured and gets injected with these drugs. And he starts hallucinating, and like visions of his father come back, the abuse, how he's not good enough, shit talking from his partner, being like, you failed me too, and look where my life went. I could have had a happy life, but instead I'm dark like you are, and this is not the life I should have had. And then the daughter, she's like, I could have had a good life, but my dad went to jail. When he got out, he killed my mom. My life went to shit because you couldn't stay, keep your nose out of my business. You should have just left us alone. But then he continues to hallucinate. And he sees like these giant clowns or balloons or something. And he kind of starts waving at him. And she's like, I don't know what you think you're seeing, but it's nowhere near as dangerous as what the real problem is. And then you see what's really there, and it's not balloons, and it's machine guns. And then the last scene is you see in the distance the building where he's at. You just hear the machine guns go off, and that's it. So he gets himself killed. So that's the final story.
Wow.
So
yeah, that would definitely work.
Yeah, I think the story there that would be told would be, the even our best intentions, it's you don't always end up where you want to, and it's still, you have to continue trying, but it's there's no happy ending. You just keep going. Look into it, see what you want. But to me, I felt like there is no happy ending for this guy. So to me, I felt like that's really the only way to end it.
Yeah, and then the other way you could spin it is he's going in to rescue somebody, and he has all the good intentions, and the hand slips or whatever, and the mom falls, and he can't save the mom. He doesn't make it in time. And then as he's about to turn to walk away, the 8-year-old boy walks out of the trailer that now is, alone because mom is now gone. Mm-hmm. And so then he takes it upon himself, right or wrong. Now this boy is his responsibility. Yeah. And then at the end, however you get to the end, when the main good guy falls short, you have that 8-year-old boy, maybe grab his jacket, and the last scene of the movie is the boy putting the jacket on.
Yeah,
then turning and walking away.
Yeah. See, and that's in the second one, you really need that kind of hero worship. So then by the time you get to the third one, it really hits home that no, you tried to help and you didn't. So the first two movies, it's you end with you tried to do good and you can't. And the third one, you just you tried to save the city, you couldn't. You tried to help this boy, you couldn't. You tried to help the lady, you couldn't. I originally, the reason why the third one would take place kind of a little bit farther in the future is because it's like you can recast those things and not really have it, really be that noticeable.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But I really loved the idea of going back to this and being like, I think those two stories would be, because I could do my poor man's version of Batman and Robin. I could do my poor man's version of, telling these type of stories, and they're still, to me, I think the real world version of doing this would be like, there's, a real, a kid fighting crime would get the kid. That's going to screw the kid up. There's no,
and not only that, but you need that good kingpin. You need that good, because you need, for every good hero, you need a good anti-hero. Yeah. You need that good villain, because if the villain sucks, so does the hero. Yeah,
and the daughter being the person saying, you screwed my life up. My dad got out. If you had just kept your nose out of it, everything would have been fine. And again, the best of intentions. It's like he's not necessarily wrong. It's just you didn't have the positive effect you thought. Does it mean he shouldn't have tried? I don't know. That's not for me to say. I think that's something the audience should say. Discuss it.
Or at the end. At the end of the movie, you find out that the one behind the scenes on the bad side is the daughter.
No, that is the person. That is the person standing.
Yeah. So your villain is the daughter, because it's like, because of you, I am now this.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. That's, to me, that's the best question of like, what do you, to the audience, it's like, what do you think? Should he have done it? Should he have not done it? Is it worth the journey? It's like, those are the type of movies that I've always found, interesting. It's not the ones that are wrapped up in the nice little bow. It's the ones that, they leave you thinking of like, man, damn, it makes you look back at the older ones and kind of question, like, you want to go back, rewatch and be like, if he had only done this different, it's like, man, there's no right or wrong. It's just life, So.
Yeah. So I've kind of done what my name says and rambled for the last 20 minutes. So Cap, I'm going to let you have some time on the stage and I'll mute myself. How about that?
That would be impossible. No, but actually, I had thought of some things myself, because, I had wondered, if it had gone on, if there would be, maybe even the hint that, yeah, maybe he didn't directly do what he intended to, it kind of had an effect on somebody else. Not directly, but somebody seeing this going, maybe I could do better. Maybe my way will work when his didn't.
Yeah. Well, see, that was part of what I wanted. Like in the third movie, I really wanted him to reach out to, his partner, and his partner to kind of tell him, fuck off. I don't, this isn't, I'm done. Like, don't talk to me. I really enjoyed, I don't know if you guys have seen the show Breaking Bad, but I really enjoyed the relationship between Jesse and Walt. To me, it's like, they always have those two on posters together, and you assume without watching the show that those two are so close, and they always show advertisements of those two hanging out. But it's like when you watch the show, they're not very close. Like they're, it's like those guys, they have some pretty tense moments. So like in the second one, like I want to have it end with those two, the kid idolizing this guy, and then by the third one, I really wanted to start off with, no, it's as close to Jesse and Walt as you can get, where this dude's telling the guy, don't talk to me. You've ruined my life, man. I can't do this. Like, you're on your own. Almost kind of like when Robin turned Nightwing and was like, nope, I'm done, dude. Maybe not necessarily being out there helping people, but he's just like, I can't do this. Like, that darkness you have, I'm not that. I can't do this. So when he goes off and he's in this, factory or wherever building, that I would have chose to shot it in, like, he really is alone. And so when he gets haunted by his dad, and he gets haunted by, his, visions of his partner and visions of this, girl and whatnot, he doesn't quite know what's real, what's not. And he just, it's messing with him because he feels like he's failed a city, and to me, I find stuff like that really interesting, so.
I like hearing all of that. That is, I think, honestly, I think I'd like to see that. Because this one was really good. And like Rambling and I said, it was really hard to come up with stuff without sounding like we were just rambling on and on. Because even he was like, "Do you want to reshoot that? That wasn't very long." No, it was perfect.
Well, like the thing when we were walking down the main like the main is Washington Street. We were walking down, and I lead into the alleyway. Like I really wanted something where he's walking out and he's walking, and we got a couple of looks of people going like, what the hell are they doing? But I mean, I at this point, like, I filmed so much, I don't really care. So I'd feel comfortable being like, nope, let's go over here and shoot. Let's go over here and shoot. But I really wanted this dude to feel like he's in the city. And that he's out there patrolling the streets. Of course, he can't be swinging from building to building like Batman, but to have him, and I loved how the as you guys put it, the JJ lens flares. I loved how that effect looked. That all that was done practically, because again, at the time, I didn't know how to be like, hey, can you add a little bit of this to it, or can you add a little bit? All that was just because it was just a good shot, and that's not because I'm such a great, director or cinematographer. That was just luck of the camera. But I loved how, he's walking as he's doing the voiceover, and he's just very brooding, and then he turns into the alley. To me, that had a very Michael Keaton Batman-esque vibe to it. Because it's like, all right, I'm looking for trouble, and I'm going to stop it. To me, it was very dark and gothic, and I loved that, because it goes from a very, kind of shiny, city to the dark alley, and I dug that. To me, it's not a perfect film, but to me, it was a very complete film. It stands on its own. So, one of the things about this is I kind of feel like if you're going to do another one, that one also needs to stand on its own. Then if you get to a third one, then that one also should complete it, and then you should be done completely. I shouldn't, necessarily go into it and say, okay, I'm making 2 more and that's it. You know, it should be like, hey, yeah, I'll get to that, and you know, we'll see. You know, but you know, all this Star Trek coming up, you know, it's hard to it's hard to get to something else. You know, because I've got actors that I could recast and make these easily, but it's just a matter of like, man, if I only had the time, you know, and you know, especially now that COVID's around, it's like, you know, but this is definitely a project like I would love to complete this as a trilogy and be like, this is the complete story, you know, and it stands, you know, and I don't think it would be too hard to tell the story. So
No, and I would definitely look forward to seeing those premieres.
well, you know, never say never, man. I mean, if I do, you know, I will I will let you guys know, and I'm sure, you know, I'll put it out there, and you know, I might test the waters and see what people think. You know, I don't know. People in the comments, you know, let me know if you guys, you know, if you guys want it. Let me know. You know, let Captain Trek and Ramblin' know. Yeah, let them know, and you know, tell them to let me know, and you know, let me know, because right now I'm just doing Star Trek stuff, and but let me know once COVID's done if you guys want more of this. I mean, I don't care what I shoot. I just like being creative. So let me know what you guys want, and I'm up for it. You know, so let me know.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the comments myself. I'm hoping that we get a wide array of people are commenting. So with that, I'd like to thank you for coming again, Vance. It's very nice having you on as always.
Oh, absolutely. I love being here.
Is there anything that you'd like to promote while you're here?
Well, like I said, Max World Entertainment, they always do watch parties, especially on Wednesdays. They do Vance Major watch parties.
Right.
So, you know, we have it 8 o'clock Central Time. And if you can't make it to any of their live watch parties, you know, go back and watch them in reruns. That's what I do because I'm always so busy. But he's one of the most friendliest guys out there.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that's all I really got. I you know, click the like and subscribe button to my channel if you haven't. I post pretty regularly, but you know, it's miscellaneous stuff. But come join me, check me out, and you know, you'll always hear me on Captain Trek's channel and Ramblin's channel. So I mean, I get around. So thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem, Vance. You're always it's always fun. It's always good for a good laugh.
Always.
And I really like to hear you grind Captain Trek's gears about his favorite Star Trek character, Wesley Crusher. It always makes me laugh.
When I saw that Subway poster of Wesley, you know, and he ordered that, you know, all gray acting ensign uniform, I was like, oh man, that's going overboard. You know, he beats me on that. So, you know, it's all good. It's all good.
Cap's gonna kill me. All right, Cap, it's all yours to wrap up, my friend.
Oh yes, and you can unsubscribe from Rambling Canuck.
You know, I need if you guys want me, if you guys want me to send Captain Trek a Wesley Crusher figure, just leave a comment and let me know, and I'll gladly do it.
Oh God, what have I started?
I will do it. I will do it.
And I will send it to my friend who uses the name Wesley Crusher on YouTube, and let him melt the damn thing down.
It's all yours, Cap.
But no, I wouldn't do that. But no, thank you. And anything else you wanted to add, Rambling?
Nope. Just hit that like button, subscribe to Cap. We're gonna get him to where he says he'll never be, which is higher than 250. We'll get him up to 400 just to piss him off. So if you didn't like the stream and you want to annoy him, subscribe. If you liked the stream, subscribe, like, share, and subscribe as often as you can. Let's prove Captain Trek wrong. He says he can't get to 300. I say Balderdash, he can get there by the end of the summer. So with that, Cap, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, for watching this live stream, and for watching it in the rewatch. Thank you for taking the time to watch. And yes, do like, share, and subscribe. And you all have a great evening. Thank you.
Okay, just give me a second here. I'll get this